Frank, are you prepared to present
Yes, sir, I am.
your summary proposal of what the delegation is considering? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Frank Santry.
Thank you, Senator Dean, Representative Adkins. Good to see you both again. I want to begin by clearly and publicly thanking both of you for the special efforts you've made and your willingness to consider changes to the OHPA Special Act at the behest of the Nassau County citizens. I know that both of you have been committed to consensus building between citizens and the OHPA board on these issues. Sadly, despite your efforts, the efforts of the citizen representatives and the oft-recited commitment of members of the OHPA board to make changes in the charter, in the end, the board agreed to absolutely nothing of the proposed changes. It wants to delay for another year and to set up a committee of its choosing, which in my opinion deliberately underrepresents the city of Fernandina Beach and Amelia Island, which are the most affected by port operations. The Port Authority is a creature of the legislative branch of state government. Modernization of its charter should not be dependent on OHPA's acquiescence or consent. You should not, in the interest of consensus, give a veto to OHPA regarding changes in its own power. The Nassau County Citizens Group supports the three changes which Representative Adkins has proposed, and we happily do so. But we believe they're insufficient to entirely allay the concerns of citizens and residents of Nassau County. Last week, in its regular meeting, the city of Fernandina Beach passed a resolution in support of two additional changes. And I particularly call that to your attention. I know it's a part of the record and it's included in the materials that were handed out outside as we were entering today. Those are there because your constituents need assurances in the immediate term that our general purpose city and county governments have the authority to protect us where the special purpose OHPA board has shown only arrogance and indifference. We are asking for two additional things now. The first is the repeal of Section 12. OHPA has used Section 12 to contend that it can do anything it wants, even if it violates building and land use regulations of the city or county. Those regulations protect residents of the city and county from inappropriate land use and for inappropriate building use. Every other landowner in either the city or the county is obligated by law to comply with them, but OHPA contends, in part by reason of Section 12 of their charter, that they need not. That section does not appear in the charter of any other port in the state of Florida, including ports that operate on orders of magnitude hundreds, and in some cases thousands of times larger than the operation of the Port of Fernandina. We do not understand why it's in their charter now, save for the fact that it appears to be a vestige of the 1940s. We're also requesting 2016 changes providing limits on eminent domain. The three most onerous powers which the people have granted to their government are the powers to take citizens' lives, liberty, or property. Nothing needs to be more circumspect in the exercise of government power than those three things. We know the extraordinary standards required of government to end the life or imprison a citizen, but likewise, we need to limit the onerous right of OHPA to take property without landowner consent, and we need to do it sooner rather than later. OHPA is a special interest district whose port operation is entirely not only in the city limits, but in the downtown, historic, commercial, and residential area of a small town. It need not, by its charter, take into account neighborhood or business impact. It's not required to consider historic preservation. By a simple majority vote, it can decide to take land to improve or expand its downtown port, regardless of these or any other consequences. We are asking only that it be required to get general purpose government concurrence to protect the balance of these concerns. These two protections are ripe for determination now. We do not need another year of study to decide whether or not to implement them. Lastly, for modernization of the OHPA Charter, which is not undertaken by the delegation today, it should be the legislative delegation and not the OHPA board, which sets up and appoints membership in a study commission to review proposals for changes in 2017. These recommendations should go to the delegation directly and not to the OHPA board for consideration. While OHPA is clearly a stakeholder in the process and should be represented, it should not be able to decide who should represent other stakeholders and to control the deliberation and recommendation process. As I said at the outset, OHPA is a creature of the Florida legislative branch. That branch should control its review. Thank you very much.